something, okay? Like in the past, I was really in love with sports, and so I identified myself in a sportsman. After I identified myself in a good dentist. But now I realize that I am something different. I am simply a person that has a good adaptation and that always try to do something more. This is my real essence. So do you want me to stay closed in a jail for 1 month? Okay, but I will try to do as much as possible in that closed space. So for example, we were talking yesterday about fitness, you asked me, no?
Mm-hmm.
I am very addicted to weightlifting.
Okay.
I have I did a few slides about this. Do you want to see?
Yeah, share the screen. Let's take a look.
Wait.
No,
I share the screen. Do you see?
Yeah. Whoa, come on. Holy cow, you can't be serious.
Okay,
man.
I am very passionate about weightlifting. Here is 160 kilograms of a squat.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Holy cow.
And here is what I did now.
Oh my.
Okay.
Where did this come from, Marco? What?
I have no audio.
You have no audio? Wait.
I have no audio.
How about now?
To listen to you.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Do you hear me? I don't hear you.
I hear you.
Wait, I go in chat.
Yeah, because I can hear. Oh, yeah. Okay, I do not hear you. Okay. Okay, it looks like I can hear you. Yeah, it's showing. Let me try one thing here. Let's try one thing.
Do you hear me? Oh, okay, I can't. Wait, you have the audio disconnected when I go on the participants.
Okay, it's on now.
Now you have.
Yeah.
Why I don't hear.
Okay, so all right, so let's figure this out. Because I'm showing that I'm on. Okay. Okay. Do you want to come? Do you want to try and get back in? I don't know. Still nothing because we were fine a minute ago. No.
Okay. Now I hear you again.
Now? Okay. All right. I'm telling you, Facebook doesn't like me. I think I got to be quiet about Mark Zuckerberg. He doesn't like me.
No, but honestly, sometimes we can have also some problem maybe of connection. After everything is new using this kind of devices. When I did my first webinar, I was playing with Keynote, OBS, Open Broadcast Software, another screen with the Safari. I was doing
right.
However, you know, I was in love. I am in love with lifting, but if I can't, I just don't start to complain. For example, saying, my gym is closed, I am not able to go to gym, but I will always try not to give up and find something else in order to get the best from what I can from that special situation. The same, for example, here at home, okay? I never started to relax on my sofa, doing nothing, just complaining about. I started to work a lot on my old cases, and I've been finally able, for example, to complete my complex cases lecture. I've been able to complete this keynote. It's 1,600 slides. in which I share my ideas and philosophy about complex cases.
Right.
About the first consultation, I am a strong believer of the importance of the first consultation, because our patients are not able to understand nothing about quality.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do your first consultation, it's everything. It's like a dating with a girl, we can say.
Okay.
It's real.
Yeah.
And when you do something with a girl, you are not only interested that the other person likes you, but I'm also interested that I like the other person. I have a nice concept about this, because to do a complex case on a patient is like to do a long-term relation. Because, you know, I stay in the same office from 20 years. I started working in my office in 2002. So by 2 years, I will arrive to 20 years of activity.
Fabulous.
And when you work always in the same place, after some years, 5, 7, 8, some problems will come back, okay? And when you have problems, the only thing that can save you is the relation and the trust that you have developed with your patient. So it's a part that we have to build from the first day. And if you see that somebody is not matching your ideas, it's better to discard this patient. I did a live 1 week ago about a treatment plan of my group, and I explained my decisional tree. But in the decisional tree, at a certain point, if patient that does not understand A, B, C, and D, you have to discard the patient. There is no other way. Instead, I see that a lot of dentists have a disease in their mind that all patients have to accept a treatment plan.
Right.
Okay? This is a mind disease. We have to accept that you cannot treat all the patients that you see, and also the opposite is true. This is a paradigm shift. The first consultation is probably the most important moment in the creation of the doctor-patient relation from both sides. And I've developed, in fact, a protocol in my mind that everybody, of course, after understanding can adapt and change. But I really think that this is one of the most important parts of our work, especially after a while.
So you were saying before about your staff. They were promised by the government that they would be paid, but hasn't happened. They haven't. No, they don't get checks. They haven't. So the question becomes: you were talking about people that work for you or work with you, not for you. They work with you. That they are a family. Can you describe your feelings, how your office works, the environment, the culture?
Okay. I see when I was in United States, I've seen that most offices are quite big. For example, David Clark has a lot of chairs, a lot of hygienists. In Italy, the situation is quite different. Most offices are quite small. My office is just 2 operative rooms, and I am here with 3 assistants. I have 1 assistant always staying with me. I have a secretary, and I have a 3rd one doing, we can say, the sterilization cleaning room, and for the consultant in the 2nd room. I just think that human relations that you have in your office are the most important part, especially if you are a dentist, because when we work, we are 0 possibilities to check what they do, okay? Because when I stay 2 hours on an endodontic treatment or something different, you have no way to know what they are doing really, okay? How they interact with patients. So I've recognized that the best system is that to develop a so big trust, a so big loyalty between you and your employees that they will do what they do because they love you.
Mm-hmm.
But doing this is on both sides, okay? I always put them before me. In this month, the government didn't pay our employees as promised, okay? Mm-hmm. So in Italy, in this moment, all the employees took their last salary at the end of February. They received nothing in March, nothing in April. Maybe something will arrive at the end of May. So, for example, what they did, I took no money, no salary from my office, but my employees at the end of the March and tomorrow at the end of April will take their salary. There is a wonderful book that I read on this topic. It's named Leaders Ate Last. Do you know?
No, I've never heard. Leaders Ate Last.
Leaders Ate Last. And I think that in some situation, this is the most important thing to do. When there are problems, who lead, the word leader is different from manager or boss. I don't want to be a boss. If you are a leader, you have to understand that sometimes you must be the last, we can say, to eat, okay? Because other people that see what you do will give you so much trust and loyalty for the future that you will be paid 1,000 more times. You sacrifice a bit nowadays, but I know for sure that I will receive 1,000 more in the future.
Outrageous. Family is a very big thing to you, Marco. You were talking about how you have set it up in such a way that everybody in your house they dedicate time. So, you know, they're not sitting on the couch watching Netflix, you know, it's, so you are working with your 4-year-old son. Can you tell people what you're doing with him?
Okay. Even school closed in Italy. So all children started to stay at home. My son is just 4 years old, so obviously he's very young. Mm-hmm. But the nice thing is that in this period of lockdown, of reclusion, I started to build a completely new routine in my house about when to do breakfast, lunch, dinner, when to do exercise. And I started to do every single day with my son, 3 times a day, 15, 20 minutes, to do letters, okay? A, E, O, U. And yesterday, after 45 days, he's been able to write everything.
Everything.
Just the last one, the Z, some problems, but he's been able at 4 years old to write everything.
Right.
But you know what I love, really? I am in love with, you know, the word, the flow. Mm-hmm. When you get focused on something and you are in that sort of brain addiction, that you are so focused at the time, you don't recognize how much time is going on. What I love when I do something with my son is when I see him doing this. There are some moments in which I see him so focused. I see him in flow that I am amazing. Mm. Yeah. Because I'm reading a book about talent in these days. I'm reading a lot, of course, in these days, right. Because it's named the Talent Code.
Talent Code.
Talent Code. So after you have read Leaders Ate Last, you can go on with this other book. Mm-hmm. And there is a very interesting concept that when the ability that we develop is related to the myelinization of our neural circuit, okay? When you apply to something, there is oligodendrocytes doing myelin around nerves. And doing this, the signal is always stronger and faster, stronger and faster. And this process can go for the whole life, more or less. Mm. And it is the neurological process leading to developing ability. Wow. This is why we have to work every single day when we want to reach excellence. Because excellence is not something that comes from God, honestly. If you see me, when I was young, I was almost with zero talent in nothing, honestly. Everything started doing sports, where I recognized that I had the potential, but I worked hard for reaching that potential. But after doing this with the sport, I understood that doing something in a very good way is just to do a good practice about this in a certain way for years. But if you work for years, everybody can do excellence in some fields. Because even, like for example, me in powerlifting, okay, weightlifting, I have zero talent because I'm very tall and I have long lever, okay? But even if you have no talent in something, if you do in a very good way, you can always go up in the top 5%. And when you are in the top 5%, if you are able to mix maybe another ability, you have always a lot to say and a lot to show to the world. So I think that speaking about talent is useless. I think that the word talent is something that we say just to not put ourselves in the game. Okay? Because saying I have no talent, it's so easy and you have the right excuse for yourself. But the reality is another one. We all have been built to excel. To excel in something is just a choice. And this is also because, in this month, I have thought a lot about these things, and I have organized a closed group in Tomorrow Tooth that's named Tomorrow Tooth Study Club. Okay? This is why I have here the program for today, because we have the first meeting. Because I recognize this. To improve, you need two things. What psychologists define deliberate practice and feedback, okay? But thinking about dentistry, deliberate practice needs motivation. The problem is that I've been able to motivate myself. This is probably my real talent. But for most people, get motivation is tough. So what is better for motivation? To stay in a community, in a group, where I will be behind your ass. And where you find, I will do this. And where you will find other people like you that is starting to improve. Try to think which huge motivation. And about feedback, two things. About feedback, you need to document your cases, photography, and you need again motivation, and we go back to the first point. And you need a correct feedback, that it is what I will do on this group. It's a sort of experiment for me. In which sense? I will talk a lot about restorative, about prosthetic vertical preparation, about complex cases, because these are the fields where I am more skilled, we can say. But the real project here is to take people and make them improve. I want to show that everybody in the correct environment can reach excellence. I have 70 people in this moment in this group, 70. And my goal is to make them not only improve, but to make them understand that they can excel. Most of these people never posted the case on Tomorrow Tooth. Most of them. They are shadows in the dental world. I want them to understand that they can excel. And I really think that they can.
Wow. So, I mean, you are actually, before we start talking about Tomorrow Tooth, you're doing something that I thought was incredible. You love to run, okay? You love to run, but you can't because you're not allowed outside, kind of thing.
Yes.
So, but you decided that you wanted to do a marathon. You just figured, okay, that's enough. I want to stay busy. So can you tell everybody what you're doing? I thought it was incredible. You are bringing people together and you were running marathons, but not on the street. Can you talk about it for a second?
Yes, of course. The point is more complex because I love weightlifting, but I hate running.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So it's but I realized that in my building I had not so many choices. So I decided to train because training was the best thing that I was able to do. And I had just one possibility. Okay. And when you have one possibility, you can give up or accept this. And I decided to accept, to run on the stairs of my building. And I started, not because I like, not, but because it was the only chance that I had. Okay, because the other chance was to give up and stay on the sofa, complaining about my reclusion. And so I started to go up and down on my building. And I shared this to other people in my group in order to give them some motivation to do something, to move. Because if you move, even your mind starts to move, okay?
Right.
And after a while, a lot of people started to run on the stairs. And I decided at that point, with a friend of mine, Vishal Gupta and Daniele Bordonali, I decided to organize a marathon on the stairs. We connected on Zoom, live streaming like we are doing now the event on Tomorrow Tooth. And if you go on the page, you will see this. There were 27, 28 persons in live with the video running up and down on the stairs for 90 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
And you have been able to do the equivalent of the Burj Khalifa, you know, the skyscraper.
Burj Khalifa, yeah.
The tallest in the world.
Yeah.
I did 200 floors in 90 minutes. Yeah, really.
200 floors in 90 minutes.
Yes.
Wow.
Vishal Gupta is a strong runner, did 238.
Holy cow.
But the point is, it's not so much about the floors.
Huh?
It's about, I've been so happy because most of people that started doing this was not trained for doing this. But what I've been really happy was that every one of these 28 persons did their personal record. People doing 50 floors did 80, 90. People doing 30 minutes did 90.
Wow.
The motivation that was around this race, because we were texting us, I was motivating them, you see, and they did everything, did an amazing thing according to their level. And this is, I love to motivate people because I see that people, when asked the good motivation, can excel. I cannot accept to see people with so much unfulfilled potential in their life. It's something that I don't like, that I cannot accept. And I will do what I can to make people improve around me.
Fantastic. What a commitment. That's outrageous. So let's talk about the thing that that really represents your commitment to dentistry and to motivation and to the achievement of excellence, and that is Tomorrow Tooth. 2014, something motivates you. You obviously connect with Pasquale Venuti.
Yes.
Venuti. And suddenly Tomorrow Tooth is born, right?
Yes.
So can you tell us about your baby and how your baby grew, became a very, very accomplished young man?
Okay. In 2014, me and Pasquale Venuti started to think about doing, we didn't start thinking about the group. We started talking by phone about, we were very passionate in dentistry, but we are realizing that going at courses and congresses, there was always a missing link. There was a missing link because in courses and congresses, reality was idealized. And going in the office, the reality was quite different. So our idea at the beginning was to close the gap between what we know, what we learn, and what we see. Okay. So we started to think about showing not exceptional dentistry, but everyday dentistry, like how to isolate deep decay, very deep decay under the gingival level. We started to do this kind of stuff. And this kind of format really was enjoyed by a lot of people. We started the group at the end of 2014, and by 1 year we had something like 20,000 members on the group. The group was expanding a lot.
In 12 months, 1 year?
In 1 year, yes.
Wow.
At this point, we decided to test if this group was something real or was just, we can say, a social media phenomenon. And in October 2015, we decided to do a real event, and we did the Congress in Benevento, October 2015. I show you some video about this.
Sure.
And wait, we decided to do something like this. And we had 200 attendants from all the world.
From everywhere?
People, yes, we had people from all over the world. Probably somebody of them did a small holiday also, but they came. I show you the video that I did with Pasquale, and I show you the, wait.
Okay.
Do you see?
Yep. Goodness. Oh my God. Outrageous. That is so cool.
We have fun doing these things.
Oh, that's amazing. That is something else. So you create this, and yes, you've grown from 2 friends,
yes,
to literally all over the world, but certainly all over Europe and South Asia. And yes, you're talking now about getting into China?
Still not. I want to arrive to China.
Okay.
This is the reason, because I'm learning Chinese in this period.
Can you, like you were showing me what can you show everybody what you're doing?
Okay, for example, we talk about people in, I'm studying Chinese from 3 months, okay? And now I'm able to read very easy books, and I'm able to do simple sentences, okay? People thinks that I am very talented in doing languages, okay? But it's not the reality, because look here, this is a paper with written Chinese characters, and look how much I did. And these are on both sides, okay? This side and this side, side and this side.
Incredible.
I've calculated that in these 2 months, I've written something like 15,000 characters and 1,000 sentences.
Wow.
Okay, so it's not about talent. It's about how focused you are in what you do. People, some people, like sometimes my wife, thinks that I am very boring because
okay, okay, nice, very lovely. Okay,
but because because this is a choice. I have realized that if you want to focus, you have to limit your focus to a few things. Okay. So, for example, I don't look television. I don't listening so much to music, but all my life is reading interesting books like psychology, history. About I don't listen to music, but I listen to audiobooks, always related to that topic.
okay.
I study Chinese and I focus on dentistry because if you say yes to all the things in your life, you will do nothing. If you want to excel, you have to learn to limit your mind to a few things. We are not built like computer for doing so many things together. Our mind is amazing, but you have to focus on few things if you want to excel in something. If you jump from one thing to another one, you will arrive nowhere. And you will think that you have no talent. Instead, you have no focus. They are two completely different things.
Well, I mean, all of a sudden I feel very guilty. You know, it's really quite you're what's the word? You're a motivation. You're a motivator, communicator, teacher, community builder. So we are 2015. You happen to see David Clark and John Codemy. Okay,
Yes.
two of the most innovative clinicians in the world. They both have restructured the framework of endodontics. Everything that they started to do, I'm trying to think, goes back to 2010. The first time I remember seeing a comprehensive document, or at least a publication from them, was in Dental Clinics of North America. Then they were publishing in Dentistry Today because the footprint got bigger and bigger. So they have impacted upon you dramatically and been instrumental in how Tomorrow Tooth has grown. So can you talk about how they were your mentors, I guess, in some way, in terms of how you and Pasquale just took off?
Okay, we and Pasquale, obviously, at the beginning, looked a lot at David Clark's and John Codemy works, especially John Codemy. John Codemy, because the problem is what we can say, to think outside of the box. I want to show you some slide. Wait.
Pardon the noise. My wife is taking a shower.
Do you see this?
I do. I do.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
The problem that we recognize in dentistry is that dentists have two things that we have to understand exactly how do they work: the culture and the dental knowledge. Then the culture is related to general customs and beliefs in a particular time. Okay, so what this means? We beheld to the world of medicine and its culture. And in medicine and its culture, we live the failure in a wrong way. When I do this keynote, this lecture, I talk about the story of Elaine Bromiley. Now we'll do a short one. Elaine Bromiley was a 37-year-old woman that did the surgery for some sinus problems. And she died because of complication with the anesthesia. When we read about their story, we see that the problem over that was that doctors lost the perception of time. Okay, Elaine stayed something like 20 minutes without oxygen. And when doctors, I have here the text, wait. When the doctors were finally able to give her oxygen, and they realized that all this time that passed, they say, she had been starved of oxygen for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Doctors were astounded when they looked at the clock. It didn't make sense. Where had the time gone? How could it have passed so quickly? You see, here there is a problem related to human mind. When we are stressed, for example, we lose the perception of the time. But in medicine, this kind of problem is not well recognized as something that we need to study, to document in order to fix. While, for example, the same problem happened in another field completely that is very famous for having a positive culture about these things, that it is aviation. I show you. Wait.
No, sure.
Okay, look this. In aviation, instead, in 1912, the fatality rate at US aviation military school, not war, just school, was close to 25%. 25%.
That's
nowadays.
That is, why would you want to be a pilot if you had 1 in 4 chance of dying?
This is a good question.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we've arrived to 1 accident every 4 million of flights. Flying is one of the most safe things with whom travel in the world. But how they've been able to do this? Because in the aviation field, they have experienced failure in a completely different way. They started to be obsessive about documentation of failures, analysis, testing, and changing protocols even on the smallest level. You have to think that pilots are pushed to express even their smallest mistakes, even their smallest doubts, not in order to be shamed, but to improve protocols. The culture behind aviation is something completely different. In fact, in the group that I will do, the study club, this is something that I want to highlight. To change the culture behind failure. Not about shame, but about building something, okay? People, especially young dentists, have to learn that the road for excellence is the road of failure.
Yeah,
if we at courses and congresses always show just our best cases, pretending that these are our routine,
right,
we will send a message that you can achieve excellence without pain, without sufferance. And people going back home will be frustrated because we'll see a different reality.
Right.
I really want to highlight this concept.
And so this is sort of like the foundation of Tomorrow Tooth. You want people to understand that nobody can be perfect all the time. No. And that you learn from your mistakes, which is not what you see on the podium of so many presentations. It's look at me, I'm amazing. And it's not ego driven, but they want to show the results of what they've learned. But you're right, it would be so much more fun, I think, so much more, not fun, but so much more instructive to see their journey from their first to where they currently are. I think it's far more instructive to people in the audience for no other reason that you're equal. It's not you're here, they're here. You see that they've gone through the same voyage. That's brilliant.
When I was in Vancouver, I did my 2-day course to Canadian people. I always like to end my 2-day course with the 1.5 hour lecture about my failures. Wow. And about how to manage them. And the owner of the office, he was a 50-year-old guy, came after this lecture and told me, I've really enjoyed these 2 days about restorative prosthodontics, but the last lecture, you changed my life. Huh. The last one. Because people on the top has to show their problems. They have to show that we are people exactly like people that is attending to your courses.
Yes, yes. Huh. That's brilliant. That's actually, I can't remember the last time somebody talked about what went wrong instead of what is right. That's amazing.
We learn much more from failures. The problem is that our society, even Facebook, Instagram, social media, we are moving towards what they call ego dentistry. We like to show up our selfies. Instead, our role should be of educators.
That's amazing. So are you dedicating, as Tomorrow Tooth continues to expand, other countries, you're doing online courses.
Yes.
Do you see that culture being more accepted? I know you're in Romania with Bogdan Akatrini. That's Super 88, I think he calls it. Is that right?
Yes.
Super 88. So many of the people that you're involved with, they're known, but how can I explain it? They lecture, but not at the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry, and they're not because they're devoted to their work. They're devoted to sharing in their communities. But your culture is expanding, right?
It's
neuropsychology, so it's, how do you call this? You're grounded, okay? You're in the moment. And from what I'm hearing from you, they call it radical acceptance, which means that it is what it is, and you can accept it for what it is. And so if you understand that this is what's happening to you in the moment, you can start moving towards the future, but you can appreciate that it's the beginning of a journey, not you're just, I'm off, I'm running. So when COVID has come to, it's never going to come to its completion. We'll always have to be aware of it and recognize its virulence. But what's going to happen when you go back to your office? What do you think is going to happen once you go back to work?
The problem in Italy is easy. We have been forced to reduce the number of people that we will treat.
Yes.
So I will be able to probably no more than 3 persons in the morning and 3 in the afternoon.
Right.
So the number of people in the office will shrink. And we have a lot more of expenses because of disposable devices.
Mm-hmm.
To think that it will be mandatory to use a single-use dress.
Mm-hmm.
It's something like €9. Okay, so you have to think that for every procedure, you will spend something more 30, 35 euro, and we do also less people. So probably in the first time, we will work with very small earning at the beginning. After, we will be forced to raise price. And doing this, however, we will see. But the problem probably is that, like it's happening in the last 20 years, this situation will split even more. Who will be in the top will go still on the top. The problem is all the people that stay in the middle.
Right.
So I think that in this moment, if you stay in the middle, you have to be very careful. If you stay in the middle, you have to decide exactly where do you have to go and to do. Because in this moment, if you stay in the middle, you can go up or you will go down.
Right.
There are no other ways. So this is the moment in which you are forced to be careful and decide exactly what do you want from your life. Because if you do nothing, automatically in this period you will go down.
Right.
This is what I think.
Well, that's actually very insightful. So I have a couple of questions before we go. Number one, if you were going to hear someone interview, you were going to listen, who would that be? What person would you love to see talk about their philosophy? Who would you like to see interviewed? So that you could sit back and go, yes.
I am in love with people showing failures, honestly. In honest people. I love a lot, I don't know him, but I love a lot, for example, Ken, the surgeon, the American one, Joseph Ken.
Ken, yes.
Ken. When I look at this post, when I was 10 years ago, I was in good mood. But now instead, I realize that I am not. When you show perfect cases, and after the 1 year, perfect failures, I really appreciate. I have the big esteem of this guy because he has the will to show the reality. Because, the best failure is when you have done everything, technically speaking, in a perfect way. This is the perfect failure. This is the right place to test our technique, to test our knowledge. Because if you did some mistake, it's different. But when you do something in a perfect way and you have a perfect failure, this is the perfect place to learn more about our technique, about our knowledge, about our perception of reality.
Well, that's amazing. I am, anybody that has been addressed, Zim Mazur, for example, he has 3 friends that he talks to. He calls them the out-of-the-box group. One of them is Nelson Pinto, who will be coming on, I think it's Wednesday. And he mentioned Chuck Swimmer from SPOT. So I'm going to reach out to him. And because of this, I'm going to reach out to Joseph Kahn. So, I mean, I did not know you. I know your work. I know when you post. But this is a whole new, for me, you're a philosopher. I think it's great.
Yes.
You have an ethos, they call it. An ethos, they call it. I sound like Trump. You have an ethos that it's unique. I mean, how many people say to you, well, I want to show you my failures. I want to show you where I went wrong. That's 180 degrees from what most people want to share with you. And so I think it's brilliant, actually, because if I were a young dentist, I would like to know that I'm not perfect.
Yes, but the problem is that our inner nature is to feed our ego. This is what our nature is about. But after a while, it's mandatory to realize that if you are educators, we have to do something different.
Okay.
Our ego has to go somewhere else.
It's interesting.
And I really hope that people that teach will do the same as we are doing in Tomorrow Tooth. Well, I will work for this.
That's actually brilliant, because the one thing that has been most noticeable when I talk to people has been, these are the people who are everywhere. They talk on every Congress, every symposium, and yet the one characteristic of all of them has been their humility. They are not like taken by themselves. They don't feel because they're always asked to speak that they're special. They have little groups of people that they get together with, and they share information, but they're not rock stars, right? They don't see themselves as rock stars. They just see themselves as educators, like you just described. And that has I think it's made all the difference in terms of what people are willing to accept. I want to thank you for this. This was brilliant. I want to thank you for being so forthcoming and for sharing. And I will reach out to Joseph Kahn. I would love to speak to Pasquale. I want to hear his journey with you. And I will reach out as well. So have a lovely day. Go lift 160 pounds and run up your stairs. And we'll talk again soon. This was really delightful, Mark. I really appreciate this.
Not pounds, kilograms.
Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye. This is on Nexus. I'm going to put it on my news feed, and hopefully another 20,000 people will know who you are, and you'll change their lives too, which I think would be great. Okay, be well. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.